An important step. That's what former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's calling any move by Syria to surrender its chemical weapons. The White House is asking Congress to approve a military strike to punish Syria's government for a chemical weapons attack. But a new proposal would have Syria turn over its stockpiles to avoid a strike. Clinton says whatever happens, the world must deal with Syria's chemical weapons threat.
How can we create an environment where we're much more open, much more transparent, provide information to people in a more proactive manner, and still protect those.
President Obama is lobbying Congress to get authority to use military action in Syria, and he could face his first test vote on that issue as early as Wednesday in the Senate.
According to many close to those negotiations, there's a near universal agreement that chemical weapons were used. But what to do about it is a very open question.
24-hour News 8 political reporter Rick Albin looks at the immediate and longer-term implications that this decision could have, Rick.
Two things you just talked about. You talked about oil at $108. That's a big concern because if something happens in that region, that could start to go up. And then this new proposal, we don't know how real it is. The White House is skeptical. Who would oversee those? Will they really give up chemical weapons? All of that can change, but it is impossible to look at that video from the chemical attack in Syria and not feel outrage at the inhumanity. But questions about what the response of the United States, if any, should be. Has the country and Congress divided? The president has asked for authority, as you all point out, for a limited military action. The UN, Russia, and perhaps a majority of the House of Representatives don't think that's a good idea. The United States has agreed to treaties that condemn the use of chemical weapons. On that count, there could be a case made to take action. It would be highly unusual for Congress to turn a president down in his request for military action, but if that happens, looks like it could, it would appear that it would be a bipartisan opinion. Both Republicans and Democrats have expressed some real concerns about this. The impact of rejection from Congress could have a cascade of effects on the president and the presidency. First, President Obama would have to consider whether to abide by the legislative decision or to act with what some see as authority held by the White House. That would almost certainly set off a firestorm that would overshadow everything in Washington in the next few months, perhaps years. If Congress does reject the request and the president takes that as the final word, what will that do to his standing around the globe? Will he, and by extrapolation the country, be seen as an entity that can't be counted on when it comes time to take action elsewhere? After all, there are more than 3 years left in his final term, and there are certain to be other international crises before a new president is sworn in. And what about the domestic agenda? The country is facing another debt ceiling showdown. It needs a budget, or at least some spending levels have to be agreed to. If Congress walks away from the president's request, how will that impact the already chilly relationship between the executive and legislative branch? Those are just a few of the questions surrounding the issue in Syria, and that doesn't even address what would happen if the United States does give the green light. If Congress says the president can go, could such an action ease the suffering? Would it inflame the region? The president's got a lot riding on this speech, not only in his dealings with Congress today and tonight and tomorrow, but tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, across the board, he's going to talk to you and everybody else in the country about making the case to go to Syria, and we've still probably got a week and a half to see the final vote on that.
There was conjecture today that an attack might embolden Assad.
There is not only that, but Iran and Russia. Russia has assets in the area. Iran has long been rumored to have being developed some very, I hate to say directly nuclear, but they are developing some weapons that are capable of being weaponized with nuclear warheads. And if those kind of things happen, then this could spiral out of control in a big hurry. And I don't know if anybody knows exactly what can happen in that region right now.
Rick Albin, thank you.